Yeah, they were trying. The Democrats were trying. They're always trying and usually failing when it comes to issues of real power and real change. And so that phrase could be on the Democratic Party's gravestone for all I'm concerned. They were trying. You know, when I think of the Democratic Party, I think of a scene in one of Martin Scorsese's masterpieces, Casino, where Ace Rothstein, played by Robert De Niro, is confronted with a couple slot machines getting rolled over in some sort of scam, and the kind of yokel relative of a senator that he was forced to hire. And he said, either you're too stupid to understand what's going on or you're in on it. Either way, you're out. And to me, that's the Democrats. I mean, I've watched in my political lifetime, the second election I voted in was Gore v. Bush, where Al Gore surrendered an election he won for the good of the country, whatever that means. I would think like fighting for a free and fair election result would be for the good of the country. But then George Bush happens, 9/11 happens, and on we go into Iraq, Afghanistan, and you know, one of the paths is kind of laid for where we're at now. And so, you know, likewise with Barack Obama not being able to seat a Supreme Court seat, likewise with this last election, likewise with Joe Biden and Merrick Garland failing to prosecute an insurrection we all watched on TV. And so for me, like, it's just not good enough anymore. That to continue to kind of see this through the lens of red versus blue just doesn't make any sense to me, because whether they're too stupid and too impotent to actually get their policies in place or whether they're in on it, it doesn't fucking matter. Each scenario leads to the same place. And so, you know, imagine having this information and allowing the 2024 election to go on without like leaking it or like getting some of this information out there. I mean, again, they were trying. Joe Biden was trying to run for an office that he was too old and too mentally unwell to actually execute, right? His mental status was a real actual problem during his term, and in his inability to drop out, his inability to say 2 years into the term, I'm going to be a one-term president. Let's have an open primary. Let's have the candidates get to know people. But again, this all assumes that Democrats are in actual opposition to Republicans, and they're not. They are not in direct opposition to them. They are a lesser form of them. And then you have the culture wars, right? Where we have had our politics reduced to culture wars because real political issues remain off the table for the average voter. That real structural change, the real things we need to do, we don't get to vote on, right? We live in an oligarchy now. And so what that means is cash rules everything around us, and the people with the most cash have the most say, and off we go. And that's a bipartisan problem. So I guess to me, the Democrats are just hopeless.